את שערי רצון להתפתח יומי כפיי ליל שוטח. Hello, I'm here today to give you a Shana Tova greeting and to give a sense of the sonic spaces of Rosh Hashanah in Morocco. What I want to continue with right now is talking about some of the songs that then are sung during Rosh Hashanah. And actually the services are an interesting I would say cycle and wave in sonic space, because there is there's an element of recitation and of kind of like urgent whispering in a very mixed and even messy manner, which creates this sonic tapestry which is surrounding the worshipers during this time of pouring out their sins. So for example, when we have the whole list of al chet shechatati, the sins that I did because knowing, and the sins that I did without knowing, and the sins that I did with my eyes, and the sins that I did with my tongues, and all that, everybody in the synagogue is saying them, and it's creating this um, enveloping sonic space. And then there are the punctuations where everybody comes together and then in one voice and sings these songs, these piyutim, to the God of forgiveness, to the Master of forgiveness. And please forgive us and wash this away and bring us to a new year. And so I'm going to sing at least a part of this. Listen, you have the translation in front of you. Listen to how quick and happy the melody is, how rhythmic. And this is actually a compositional device which shows us that sometimes when you're actually saying a word or saying a text that is very painful and very difficult, composers actually put melodies that are upbeat and rhythmic and happy to create a kind of a rupture in the mind of the listener, to make it even more poignant and even more intensely received, because you can tell that the text and the melody seem to be at odds with each other. So here we go. Adon naselichot bochen levavot gole amukot dover tzedakot chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu adur baniflaot vatik banechamot זוכר ברית אבות, חוגר כליות, חטאנו לפניך, רחם עלינו. טוב ומיטיב לבריות, יודע כל נסתרות, כובש עוונות, לובש צדקות, חטאנו לפניך, רחם עלינו. מלא זכויות, נורא תהילות, סולח עוונות, עונה בצרות, חטאנו לפניך, רחם עלינו. בוא אל ישועות, צופה עתידות, קורא הדורות, רוכב ערבות, שומע תפילות, תמים דעות, חטאנו לפניך, רחם עלינו. חטאנו לפניך, רחם עלינו. Here we're saying, We have sinned before you. We have sinned before you. Have mercy upon us. Seems a little bit off, but it's this pouring out of the communal heart and soul together in this one voice to plead to the master of the universe. And the next song that I want to sing with you is the song Echare Ratzon, which is sung actually right before the shofar service. And it is a song that tells the story of Isaac, of the binding of Isaac, because Rosh Hashanah is really about the binding of Isaac. It's about how it was Isaac, our ancestor, who was ready before God to give his life. He was 40 years old when it was Akedat Yitzchak. And once he realized what his father was going to do to listen to God, he said to him, okay, but you have to tie me up because I'm not sure that when the knife will come, my animal instinct won't flinch, thus making the offering unkosher. So the fact that he had the gevura, the the discipline, the strength to do this, the restraint to do this, then merits that all of our sins should be pushed aside. And that is why we blow the shofar, because the shofar is the ram's horn that then came and that was the offering instead of Isaac. So this poem, which I invite you to look up the translation. It's a very, very long pizmon written by Rabbi Yehuda ben Shmuel ibn Abbas in Kurdistan. It's a very, very, very moving poem. And every Sephardi congregation that I know of sings it right before the shofar service to open our hearts to the sound of the ram's horn, of the shofar, of the pain, to open our own gates of tears, because they say that it is only the gates of tears that are never closed, right? So, and the refrain is Oked vehane'ekad vehamizbeach. It's the fourth line here. Oh, I just see that there's a misspace here in the slide. But so the fourth line is the refrain, and then the next stanza starts with the fifth line. Echare ratzon להתפתח יומי כפיי ליל שוטח ענה זכור נא לי ביום מוכח עוקד והנקד והמזבח באחרית נוסה בסוף העשרה הבן אשר נולד לך במעשרה אם נפשך בו עד מאוד נקשרה עוקד והנקד והמזבח קום הלאו לי לעולה ברא על חר אשר כבוד לך זורח עוקד והנקד והמזבח. I wanted to talk about all the different spaces of Jewish life and of the life where in Judaism, in many countries, and mostly, quite specifically, as I'm talking about in Morocco, Jewish music is performed and presented and enjoyed. So I have divided this into 4 different groups. One which is a public exo group, so outside of the group, and this is the most recent iteration of it. And these are public concerts, the radio, television, and films where Jews and Jewish music appears. Then we have the public endo group, which is the synagogue liturgy, life cycle parties such as bar mitzvahs, brit milah, um, weddings, and holiday or school synagogue performances and pilgrimage performances. And then we have private mixed gender, which is, for example, singing during preparing matzah for Passover. In Morocco, they used to actually close the seal and kasher, the public oven in the Medina, and stay one whole night preparing the matzah for the whole community of that town, while singing songs, some in Hebrew and some in Judeo-Spanish or Judeo-Arabic. Then in these private mixed gender, we also have all the home-based rituals, which are Passover, Shabbat, Rosh Hashanah, as in this year, private home concerts, and also singing on the buses to go to the pilgrimage, or in the car, for example. And then we have private separate genders, so performances of music that are all women, or maybe that are all men. The all women ones will be ritual bath, so the mikvah songs, mikvah parties, home-based women gatherings. Private men will be sometimes daily synagogue liturgy, but also they might gather together with the male friends and sing some songs. And women also have special songs that they sing during labor. These are usually in the vernacular, so in Judeo-Spanish and Judeo-Arabic and in Judeo-Amazigh. So I wanted to show you an image of a Jew and a Muslim performing together as recently as 2017. And here they're in Casablanca, and they're actually singing a song to Rabbi Yitzhak ben Walid, one of the rabbis, of the saints, of the tzaddikim of the Moroccan pantheon. And here we have, in the 1960s, a women's private gathering before the wedding of the bride, who's sitting in the middle wearing this very symbolic ritual dress that symbolizes fertility and the circularity of the cycle of life. The women would be actually singing to her then. And this is actually the night before her wedding, and you can see that her dress has the same kinds of embroideries as the Torah scrolls, which are hanging behind the covers for the Torah scrolls, which are hanging behind her on the wall. And these are, this is because the bride on this day symbolizes the Torah itself. She symbolizes the Sefer Torah, the book of the Torah, because she is the tree of life, because she is the one who will bring forth the future generations of Jews, which will then bring forth the transmission and the continuity of the community as a whole. And here we have a private home-based party. You can see it's in their Salon Marocain, in this Moroccan salon. It's a party from the 1970s. And we have a Jewish musician in the center looking straight at the camera. And the others are his Muslim band that is performing with him. And you can see the audience members sitting on the sofas in the back. So it's not even a frontal performance, but the audience is sitting all around them as they're in the living room. And here we have actually a very, very public performance on the street of the grande dame of Moroccan popular music, Zohra El Fassia, who later did Aliyah and passed away in Ashdod. And here she's actually giving a street performance for the festival of the coronation of the king. It's called La Fête du Trône, the festival of the throne. And you can see that the street is full of a very mixed and probably poor audience. It's not the notable, it's not the wealthy people, but she was out kind of in the street singing to everybody, showing her patriotism. So some of these songs are actually written in manuscripts, in privately held family manuscripts. And this one is one that actually is in Barcelona today, but that was written in Gibraltar and in Egypt, and it's in Judeo-Spanish, so we can see the movement of repertoires from Tetuan to Gibraltar to Egypt and now back to Spain. So what I want to talk about is we have these different layers of musics that represent these different layers of appreciation of the Jewish connection to their Judaism, but also to the society that they live in and to the world at large. And so we can see here how at the very center we have a local core repertoire, which is very often in the vernacular. It can actually sometimes also be liturgy, which is a text that is sung around the world, but with a melody that is very specific to either a family, a city, or a region. And then we have the general Jewish world repertoire, which is known by more people and shared by more people. And it's one of the bridges actually to Jewish communities in other places and in other regions. It's one of the ways to connect to another Jewish community and to Jews in other places. However, I would say that these next three frontiers, the first, the second, and the third, are really interchangeable, because sometimes actually the Moroccan musical element is closer to the local core repertoire, or the French or the Spanish element is closer to the local core repertoire than even the general Jewish world repertoire. So these are actually repertoires that intermingle and that oscillate back and forth. And then we have this general international repertoire, which includes, the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and music from Cuba and Compay Segundo and things like that. So Moroccan Jews are very much in the present with the general music of the world. However, this local core repertoire then is what represents their attachment to their own traditions, to their lands, and to their sonic space in time. So with that, I wish you all Shana Tova Umetuka. May next year we all be able to be in synagogues full of worshipers that are singing their hearts out, thanking God for having written us in the book of life and asking God for the next book of life. Et share ratzon להתפתח יומי כפיי ליל שוטח ענה זכור נא לי